allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Sarah, please take the roll.
Mercedes Evans.
Here.
Thomas Fink.
Here.
Michelle Forbes.
Here.
Jennifer Hoover.
Here.
Tim Jackson is absent. Luisa Losova. Emily Smith.
Here.
And Josiah Garber is absent.
Okay, thank you. That brings us to our first period of public comment. If you have public comment to share, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Brought my watch so I could try to keep it under. Hi, my name is Matt Byers, 105 South 15th Street. I would like to just make a couple general comments on the bypass corridor project on top of the email that I sent last month, which was much more detailed and constructive. Of course, you know that the engineer pointed out that there are 35,000 vehicles per day on this road and that there's a lot of congestion. And I would like to say that the only viable way to reduce congestion is by providing safe and useful and attractive transportation alternatives. And the most important factor in achieving those things is to keep vehicle speeds down. And I think the engineer did a pretty good job with the report. They were adamant that traffic calming in a physical, traditional sense could not be achieved, but they failed to mention that even the presence of bike lanes and striping, high visibility crosswalks, refuge islands, and even landscaping play a huge role and have a bearing on traffic speeds. So it is for those reasons that I would like to voice my support for all of those pieces of the puzzle, especially the crosswalk at Lincoln and Logan, which was, as you know, recommended in the Bike Ped study from 2018. And I would like to add that making a place more bike and ped friendly means more than just adding ADA crosswalks and fresh concrete. It means making it more attractive and more convenient. And sometimes that means making it less convenient for motorists. And there was an excerpt in the report that really stood out and captured this for me, and it was on page 13. Quote, "The signalized intersection at Market and Cumberland Boulevard includes a pedestrian all-stop phase, which appears to create frustration for drivers." This car-brained mentality seems contradictory to the goal of the project. And as you pursue this project, I would again ask you to view these pieces through the lens of bikers and pedestrians, not engineering reports on traffic flow and traffic throughput. You know, think about how long it takes people to cross that street that you're considering turning into 2 separate phases. And I would again consider the comfort of these routes. Shade trees do so many things to improve the environment and to improve conditions and to improve the attractiveness of this mode of transportation. But thank you again for pursuing these projects, and I'm happy to see them come to fruition.
Thank you. Anyone else? Go ahead.
Bonnie Bentz, 3015 Columbia Avenue. I see that you have on your agenda a motion to approve or deny conditional use on an application for an Airbnb at Willow Avenue, and I would just like to state that I would be opposed to that. In the course of the past few years, we had several people come and speak publicly about their opposition to Airbnbs in single density residential neighborhoods. And we worked hard at ensuring that our zoning ordinance clearly stated where transient housing was allowed and where it was not allowed. If you approve this, what it's going to do is provide a slippery slope for other areas that might be double units. It, again, presents problems with neighbors not knowing who their neighbors are. It presents problems with parking, with, aberrant sometimes behavior. And it's contradictory to the concept of a neighborhood and knowing who your neighbors are and looking out for your neighbors. So I recommend, from my perspective, and I hope from the majority of Camp Hill neighbors, that you would vote no.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. That brings us to President's announcements, and I would like to share that Borough Council met on Monday evening for the purposes of discussing potential litigation. Which brings us then to our next motion, and that is the consideration of the conditional use application for 310 Willow Avenue. And by way of background and for the benefit of those in attendance, the conditional use hearing was held on May 29th to consider the application of appeal for a use not provided for as indicated by Section 104.b and Section 1217 of the borough's zoning code. And the property is within the low-density residential district. A stenographer was in attendance and a transcript was provided. So with that being said, I'd like to ask if there's a motion to deny the conditional use application for 310 Willow Avenue.
I make a motion to deny the conditional use application.
Is there a second?
I second, yeah.
Okay. Michelle moves, Emily seconds to deny the application. Is there any discussion?
I would just like to say that we spent a lot of time on this. We did not make a quick offhanded decision. We considered the applicant's appeal, et cetera, and I think the vote that we're going to take is a fair one. It might not be the one that pleases the applicant, but we're going to vote.
Any other comments?
So I'd like to say that the conditional use application for 310 Willow they stated that a short-term rental is a use that's not provided for in the borough. And we do have short-term rental areas like hotels and motels, bed and breakfast. They're permitted in multiple zoning districts in the borough. But the property at 310 Willow is located in an LDR, a low-density residential district, and that area encourages owner occupancy and is meant to protect against incompatible uses. Renters staying at a property for fewer than 30 days disrupts neighborhood stability in a zoning district intended primarily for single-family dwelling units and promoting traditional patterns of development. So I do believe that there is a use in the borough, and that because of that, it should be denied.
Thank you, Michelle. Any other conversation, discussion? Louisa?
The Planning Commission actually recommended approval of the conditional use request, and I agree with them. I think we should approve it and not deny it. In my opinion, the proposed activity is residential in nature, and it will not change the character of the neighborhood. And the proposed conditions are very reasonable. The only thing that I would change is, especially since many neighbors were concerned about parking, I would reduce the permitted number of parked cars to 2 cars. And in the long term, I think we should revise our zoning ordinance to better regulate short-term rentals. I do agree that we do not want proliferation of Airbnbs all over Camp Hill.
So I would only permit two specific scenarios. One would be that the owner permanently resides at the property and rents out a room in the same property, or a case similar to the request that the owner resides right adjacent in a duplex. So we don't want absentee landlords, and we don't want people renting out the entire house as an Airbnb.
Thank you, Louisa. Any other comments? Hearing none, then. Those who are in favor of denying the application would vote yes. Those who are opposed to denying the application would vote no. Okay. So all those who are in favor of denying the application, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? No. So the motion passes 4-1 with Louisa voting in 5-1 with Louisa voting in the negative. Okay. Moving on to the manager's report, please.
Good evening. Our Workplace Safety Committee has continued to meet monthly. We recently installed some emergency notification equipment in the borough office that we feel will improve safety for our administrative employees. The Cumberland County Connects Transportation Funding Program has become available. They asked municipalities to identify 3 priority projects, which we did submit 3 projects. That they have to be located on municipally owned roads that are not eligible for federal funds. So we did participate in that program. The hazard mitigation plan that's being currently developed by the county will be a project that will enable us to, and municipalities in general, to adopt the county's plan, which is intended to be updated every 5 years. Our emergency management coordinator, Bob Forbes, has been participating in the early phases of the update. And there is a public survey that's available on the county's website to give feedback on the county in general and what the public feels are our greatest risks for disaster preparedness. And with regard to stormwater education, the entire borough staff participated in MS4 stormwater training this month, which was led by HRG. This training is required at least once a year. So the public works staff who are responsible for facility inspections are most involved in meeting our MS4 requirements. And if you want me to tell you what MS4 stands for, I'll be happy to do that. Administrative and public safety staff members are also involved in handling complaints and preventing and responding to illicit discharges. So they receive training as well. And all of our staff and our officials as well will be involved in stormwater public outreach and participation as required by our MS4 permit at Stormfest on July 24th from 5:30 to 8 o'clock. It's a free festival with lots of giveaways, a free raffle that you can enter, and the greatest thing is you get to meet lots of people who are involved in keeping our waterways clean and environmental protection. Lots of activity for kids, but also for adults as well, and food trucks. So, and this year we're having a succulent planting station. So, sponsored by Susquehanna University. I have a lot of plants, so bring your own pot to upcycle your pot, or we will have some pots here, and you can make little planters and take them home with you. So we're looking forward to all the municipalities are participating from, not all of them, but many are participating from Cumberland and Dauphin counties, and they value this unique event as a chance to share their work with the public. So hopefully everyone will join us, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Sarah. Moving on then to our mayor's report, please.
Okay, thank you. The police department ran 911 calls for service in the month of June. They also hosted a training right here presented by Randy Means on constitutional use of force and de-escalation. 5 of our officers attended that training. This training's been held before. And 30 officers from around the mid-state also participated. And the cost for that training was taken care of through grant funding from the HERO grant, which was given by the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency. The Camp Hill Fire Department ran 34 calls in June, spent 37 man-hours. The department were in the middle of engine company training for the next 6 weeks. And the next chicken barbecue is August 10th. That's my report. Oh, one other thing, I'm sorry. I have it written down right here, too. National Night Out is Tuesday, August 6th, from 6 to 8 p.m. in Willow Park. And anybody that wants to volunteer to assist, we would welcome that. So, hope to see everybody there. That's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That brings us to our engineer's report. Mike?
Thanks. As everyone has probably noticed, we have a lot of construction projects active around the borough this summer, so pardon our dust. Everything's going pretty well, but we do have a number of action items on those that I'll kind of run through. The first one is related to the Seabird Park Pump Station Replacement Project, which is complete. And we have 2 payment applications where we're requesting approval this evening. The first one is application number 9 in the amount of $17,622.50 to HRI. That's for the last of the work that they did. And then we also received payment application number 10, which is to release the retainage. And that amount is $52,710.97. We reviewed their paperwork and concur with those numbers. And we would also request that after approval of payment application number 10, that we close the construction contract. So we can put that one to bed. The next project is the 2024 curb ramp replacement project. That's underway and also proceeding well. The contractor is done with the curb ramps in the kind of northwest area of the borough, Runson and Logan, and they're currently working in Walnut and then moving on to High Street. We have 2 requested actions on that project this evening. One is approval of change order number 1, which is to reduce the cost of the project by $615. We had an error in the bid documents on one of the wage rates, and there are very prescribed wage rates for this project because of the funding involved. So that was a mistake, but the net is a reduction in cost. The second item is to approve the first payment application from that contractor, CPA Pavement Services, in the amount of $23,771.50. And we would ask that that be approved contingent upon the funding agency approving all of their paperwork. They have a lot to document to the funding agency's satisfaction and aren't quite there yet. Moving on then to the 2024 paving project, we have had the pre-construction meeting with that contractor. They anticipate starting work in August. They're going to work mainly in that northwestern corner of the borough, which was why it was important that the curb ramp contractor do that area first. So that area is now clear for them to begin. They anticipate starting in August. You may have also noticed that we're doing some work on Market Street, the streetscape project. York Excavating is done with the south side of the road at this point. That was phases 1, 2, and 3, and this week they're switching over to the north side of the road. They kind of moved out for the 4th of July weekend. They're trying to figure out, working with the gas company to figure out which end they're going to start on the north side, but they're about to switch. We do have a payment application from them this month, which we have approved and found to be in order. That one is in the amount of $178,593.91. And we would request approval of that tonight. We're also working on a project in Seabird Park to restore the stream, rebuild the trail, and construct a kayak launch. I'm pleased to report that the stream portion of that project is done. They met their June 30th milestone. The bypass pumps and the sandbags and everything are out of the stream, and it's back to flowing naturally. The contractor currently has 2 crews active, one working on the trail and one working on the kayak launch, and they're moving expeditiously towards their July 31st substantial completion date. So that means ideally in August we're ready to open it back up for everyone to enjoy, and it looks like we're on track to do that. We have another payment application from that contractor this month, which is number 2, in the amount of $285,234.02 to Aquatic Resource Restoration Company. And you'll probably all recall that this is a joint project between the borough and the Stormwater Authority. And the breakdown is $263,087.90 is related to the stream work and should be reimbursed by the authority. and $22,146.12 is related to the trail and should be paid by the borough. That's everything in my report.
Thank you, Mike.
Can I add something about the
Yes, please.
streetscape? Just anybody who wants to stay tuned to the streetscape project, be sure to email Julie so that you get our update emails. That is literally changing by the day. They had changed the whole project to shift to what we've been designating as Phase 6 because of the delays by UGI and Phase 4. And just this afternoon, Lester said they're probably going to switch back again to work on Phase 4. So everybody roll with it. We're doing our best. The property owners that are in the phases where we're working are being well advised and having personal connections. But for the general public who's following along on our Facebook posts and thinks we're crazy, just we're rolling with it. And I have to give some credit to HRG and to Lester really for keeping these projects moving. There's a lot going on, and it's unusual, as far as I'm concerned, for a municipality of any size, but particularly of our size, to be tackling this many capital projects simultaneously. So give a lot of credit to HRG for that.
So Sarah, just to clarify, they are probably going to continue on the north side at Roberto's, correct?
That is what we believe
As of
as of today, literally this afternoon. So as soon as we have information, it'll just be plastered everywhere, and then the next day it'll change, and we'll say, sorry, but just keep following along and visit our businesses there, but also stay out of the way.
All right, thank you for those reports. That brings us to our consent agenda. Is there a motion to pass the, I cannot speak, I have too many words in my head right now for work-related reasons. But yes, so moved. Thank you. Emily moves and Mercedes seconds to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion to approve the consent agenda passes unanimously. That brings us to our reports of committees and liaisons, starting with Public Works, please. Louisa?
Okay, so as you might have noticed, all of the action items today are Public Works. Mike already went over the first four. So we also have an action item to renew our winter traffic service municipal agreement with PennDOT, which means we plow snow on Market Street, 21st Street, and 17th Street, and PennDOT reimburses us for that with a fixed amount. And the last action item is adoption of the alternative transportation feasibility analysis for the Camp Hill bypass, also known as Gateway to Camp Hill, a bypass transformed. So we appreciate all the public comment that we have received, and we will definitely take it into consideration. And when we adopt this report, that doesn't mean we have to do everything exactly as it's written in the report. The report is a starting point. Other items that were discussed when Public Works met on July 2nd were waste pickup issues on South 27th Street, which happens to be the block where I live. A couple of weeks ago, the trash truck was unable to pass through and collect trash due to cars being parked too narrowly, they say. It is a very narrow street, and we had some discussion about it, and we decided to not go ahead with any changes to parking at the time being, but we will all be careful about how we park. We'll park close to the curb or a little bit on the sidewalk, and hopefully there will be no further issues. The last 2 weeks Penn Waste came through with no problems. Another topic that was discussed was the traffic light at Harvard and 32nd Street. We had an inquiry from a member of the public about that. So this traffic signal was checked recently by our traffic signal maintenance company. They confirmed that the signal is functioning properly. Unfortunately, traffic coming from Harvard has the lowest priority at this intersection because the intersection is optimized for through traffic, so wait times can be long at times. The only way to potentially change that problem would be to eliminate all stop pedestrian crossings, which might be an unpopular thing to do. Another issue that was discussed was one resident was walking in Seabird Park and inadvertently inhaled some weed killer. It was a windy day. We discussed what could be done to advertise, the areas where weed killer is applied, and we are considering to put a flag on the golf cart so that it will be more visible so people can stay out of the area during application. The last item I'm going to mention is that not many residents or companies are taking the borough's mulch or compost. So that is potentially becoming a problem in the long run because the company that is currently taking it, their capacity is also full. So I don't know what the solution is besides keeping your yard waste in your own yard, which I'm doing. That's all the Public Works report I have.
Thank you, Louisa. Any questions? Okay, hearing none, moving on then to Community and Business Relations, please.
Okay, we did not meet last month, but we will meet this Tuesday on July 16th at 4 p.m. if anybody wants to attend.
Thank you, Michelle. Parks and Recreation.
I just have a couple updates. Camp registrations for all of the camps are still going on. I would like to specifically mention the science camps, Take a Dive, Fizz, Band, Boom, Bot, and Magical World of Science. Sign your kids up. You can register online. Also, the box lunch review is coming back again this Friday. The musician is Colette Eckert, who I hear is fabulous. And that's sponsored by Conti Wealth Advisors. And the pool and the snack shack are open. I'm sure you're all aware because I feel like it might be full every day this week. So that's all I have to report.
Thank you. Next brings us to Planning and Zoning. Tom?
Okay, you'll note in your packet a monthly code enforcement report by Colton. In June, he issued 54 permits, responded to 94 calls and complaints. The Planning and Zoning Committee met June 28. We've reviewed an updated rental inspection implementation plan and a draft informational letter to be sent out to current owners. We prepared a fee schedule, which we have recommended for the Administration and Finance Committee to review at their next meeting. We also discussed zoning requirements for fences, trailer parking, and special events. That's going to be an ongoing discussion because they're kind of complicated issues. And we received an update on the Community Choice Aggregation petition to the Public Utility Commission. It's been submitted by 8 boroughs. We're not in on that initial because it just takes time to do things. The Planning and Zoning Committee is recommending that we approve this. The council will consider approving it at the August meeting. And the agreement is pro bono, and as we review the legal document, doesn't look like it's obligating us to much. But I think administration is going to look at that, and then hopefully we'll bring it to the August. And we really want to get in on this, because if the PUC approves a trial plan, they might allow those 8 communities to get in on this plan, which can reduce the cost of energy from 2 to 20% on some estimates. So that'd be a great thing to be able to offer to our citizens. So we'll see where that goes. There'll be ongoing updates in public education about this topic as well. There are no action items for tonight, so that's my report.
Thank you, Tom. Any questions? Okay, moving on then to Administration and Finance. Mercedes?
Thank you. Our committee met on June 20th, and there weren't any notable expenses to report. We did discuss the 2025 budget timeline, so I think in our next meeting on the 22nd, we might try to solidify those dates. And also, the public safety chair is not here, and I'm part of the committee, so I just want to report that the committee did not meet this past month.
I was just like, did I miss it? No. Okay. Thank you, Mercedes. Any reports from liaisons? Starting with stormwater, because I know there would not be a report. So is there any report from the
Okay,
Stormwater Authority?
The Stormwater Authority met yesterday. As Mike reported, the Seabird Park Blackberry Stream is back to natural flow. They're now working on the trail. The kayak launch will be closed for about 2 weeks while they work on it, so please stay out of the area. Also, I hope you will all come to Stormfest. There will be a representative from Stroudwater Research Center with a microinvertebrate hands-on tank. Macroinvertebrate, but they are very micro. Anyway, nice, interesting critters. That's all from Stormwater.
Thank you. The Sustainability Committee?
Yes, as I've said before, it's a very active, dynamic group that continues to meet and look at ways to be good environmental stewards and save money. So that combination is kind of exciting. Tim Hawkins continues to work with the National Renewable Energy Laboratories, and I talked about a map that would be potentially available where a resident could click on their property and see how much money they could save if they switched to solar or heat pumps or insulation, et cetera. We don't want to proceed with that until we know the data are good. So Tim's working on that. At our last committee meeting, we had a representative from the DEP meet with us, and we had a Zoom meeting with Wilson Engineering, and we looked at ways to increase energy efficiency in our borough buildings, this building, the pool complex, and Public Works. And looking at ways to get money, federal funding, low-cost loans, et cetera. So that's proceeding. The committee is also actively looking for speakers that, starting in September, to educate the public about the use of solar and so on. I think PPL is coming in September to talk about solar, and we're looking to get to somebody in October, potentially, to talk about heat pumps. So keep an eye on that, and we'll inform everybody what's coming. Sustainability Committee will have a table at Stormfest, and again, we want everyone to come. And finally, John Dernbach and I recently attended a Sustainability Committee, or a Regional Decarbonization Pathway Workshop in Kansas City, Missouri. It was a very intense one-day workshop looking at the role of universities in supporting local communities to move towards sustainability economies. Besides enjoying barbecue meals twice and coming back with COVID, from which we both have recovered, we come back with a lot of enthusiasm about these efforts, with a knowledge that we're ahead of the ball. You know, we're for a small community, we're doing a lot of the things that were talked about. So I felt really good about that. We were able to represent that and talk about barriers and et cetera. I gained an understanding of this concept of net zero, which is a very important concept about green gases. Green gas out, green gas pull back, so you end up not releasing more harmful gases, methane, et cetera, into the environment. Got an understanding of the importance of communities working together. There was a fellow from the San Diego area talked about a large community effort to do a lot of the things that we're doing. And if we got more involvement with other communities locally, we could increase efficiency, coordinate our efforts, et cetera. So that's something that we'll be talking about. And that was about it. It was an exciting meeting, small group, but very high end in terms of the participants. And I found out that John Dernbach is a superstar in this world. So they were referencing him and citing his writings, et cetera. So that's my report. And that's right, it cost zero for us to go. We had to pay for 2 barbecue meals, but that was fine. And the COVID was free, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom. Next is the Downtown Camphill Association.
I just have a couple things. The farmers market, it continues to go on every Tuesday from 3 to 7 until October 15th. Julie just recently attended the Pennsylvania Downtown Center Conference in York, where she was able to sit in on sessions about grant opportunities, sponsorships, the importance of events, pedestrian safety, et cetera, et cetera. So she got lots of good knowledge and got to do some networking. And then also, the Downtown Camphill Association is collaborating with the Frederickson Library to organize roundtable discussions with downtown business owners and managers. They've been talking about this for a couple months now, and it's really starting to come together. I think they're going to be in the fall. I don't think the dates are on the books yet, but it's going to be business owners helping other business owners or people who want to become business owners to learn about different aspects of how to run a small business. So I'm really looking forward to those sessions, and I love the collaboration. And I think that is all I have.
Thank you, Emily. Any report from the Frederickson Library Board?
No, but I will just mention that they're having a summer concert on the lawn on Thursday, July 25th at 7 p.m. And again, if you're not getting their bulletins and all, they're offering things all day, every evening for anything you can imagine. So please check them out and support them.
Thank you, Michelle. Anything from Capital COG?
Yeah, we meet Monday.
Monday.
Yeah, nothing.
Okay, thank you. That's the end of our liaison reports. This brings us to our second round of public comment. Again, if you have any public comment, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes, please. Don't all jump at once. Okay, thank you. That brings us to our action items for this evening, starting with item number 12A. First, regarding the Seabrook Park Sewage Pump Station Replacement Project, is there a motion to approve the application for payment number 9 in the amount of $17,622.50 to HRI Incorporated?
So moved. Second.
Mercedes moves, Michelle seconds to approve the application for payment number 9. Is there any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion to approve application payment number 9 is approved unanimously. That brings us to our application number 10. So is there a motion to approve application for payment number 10 in the amount of $52,710.97 to HRI Incorporated with subsequent closure of the construction contract?
So moved.
Louisa moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Michelle seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion to approve application for payment number 10 also passes unanimously. Moving on to 12B regarding the 2024 curb ramp project. Is there a motion to approve change order 1 to reduce the cost of the project by $615 and to extend the substantial completion date by 1 week?
So moved.
Second.
Louisa moves and Michelle seconds to approve change order number 1. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion to approve change order number 1 passes unanimously. Next, is there a motion to approve application for payment number 1 in the amount of $23,771.50 to CPA Pavement Services Incorporated, conditioned upon the funding agency also approving the payment application and any supporting documentation?
So moved.
Mercedes moves. Michelle seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion to approve application for payment number 1 passes unanimously. Next, 12C regarding the Market Street Streetscape Project. Is there a motion to approve application for payment number 3 in the amount of $178,593.91 to York Excavating Company?
So moved.
Louisa moves, Michelle seconds to approve application payment number 3. Any discussion?
Michelle's hogging the seconds.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion to approve application payment number 3 passes unanimously. That brings us to the Seabrook Park Stream Trail and Kayak Launch Project. Emily moves to approve application for payment number 2 in the amount of $285,234.02 to Aquatic Resource Restoration Company, with $263,087.90 to be reimbursed by the Stormwater Authority and $22,146.12 to be paid by the borough. Is there a second? Emily moves and Mercedes seconds to approve application for payment number 2. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I just want to say, I drove by that area by the creek, and I was very excited about what's going on. There were families out there swimming in the creek and so on, but I think this is a great project. I can't wait for it to be finished.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion to approve application payment number 2 passes unanimously. Second to last item. Is there a motion to approve the Winter Traffic Service Municipal Agreement with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation for Market Street, 21st Street, and 17th Street?
So moved.
Louisa moves, Emily seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion to approve the municipal agreement with PennDOT passes unanimously. Last but not least, that brings us to our last motion of the evening. Is there a motion to adopt the alternative transportation feasibility analysis for the Camp Hill bypass?
So moved.
I'm going to give that one to Louisa. Is there a
All
second?
I'll second it.
All of them should be mine. They're all public works.
It's your committee. Louisa moves, Emily seconds, to adopt the alternative. I appreciate the excitement. The eagerness, it's wonderful. Louisa moves, Emily seconds, to approve the analysis. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. So that brings us to our final round of public comment. If you have any public comments, please come to the podium and please abide by the prior instructions. No? Okay. We do appreciate your attendance. That brings us to closing remarks by council. Any remarks? No? Okay. Thank you if you're watching online. If you are watching online, we may be getting a new microphone soon. So, for the podium. So, but anyway, thank you both online and in person. Meeting stands adjourned.